Well, after circling through storyline, it seems the show has finally found some sort of consistency. Hey guys, from for Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 14, Homecoming. I was definitely looking forward to this episode for various amount of reasons. I've been really enjoying this season, but also because of the way the last episode ended. I was interested in seeing how the show is going to be now that Supergirl and Mon-El were together and all that drama was over, and I have to say that overall, I was very impressed with this episode, because as I told you guys in the intro, this is the first episode that feels like we're actually going somewhere. Not that I don't think we haven't been. I think the show's been doing a good job with character-focused storylines, but not so much with the villains. It seems like the show, it's had villains here and there. It's been one of those, see what works, see what doesn't, and it seems that finally, after this episode, we now have something that's actually going to stick and affect the rest of the season. And I'm hoping that that is the direction that we are headed, because I like the way things went in this episode. I will admit this episode was fairly predictable, but I definitely really did enjoy it overall. I thought it was definitely very well done, and let's just get into it, because a lot of stuff definitely didn't happen in this episode. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and let's just jump right into this episode. So, right off the bat, we start off, as we know, Mon-El and Kara are together, and they're apparently sleeping together now. He's waking up in Kara's bed. Kara's already gone. Mon-El wonders whether he was that bad or that good, and when he walks into the living room, Kara flies in with flowers and coffee, and after changing into regular clothes, Kara kisses Mon-El, admits it's nice to be able to kiss someone without breaking their nose, and Mon-El wants to just spend the day in the apartment, but Kara says they need to be in the DEO in 20 minutes, and I like seeing these two in a relationship. It was weird to see, definitely. It's definitely going to take some adjusting to, but it didn't take long for me to really enjoy these two being in a relationship. You can understand why these two need to be together. And that's something this episode exemplifies very well, is that this is the reason why Kara and Mon-El really do belong together, at least in my eyes, I think. But Kara says they need to be in the DEO in 20 minutes. She also asks Mon-El to keep quiet about the relationship because she doesn't want everyone to comment on it, obviously. So Mon-El agrees, but immediately spills the beans to the DEO. John says they need to inform HR, since the DEO has an HR department, and when an alarm goes off, informing Wynn of Cadmus activity. And I thought it was kind of funny the way that John said that Kara was in trouble for that, so Supergirl and John then fly to intercept a Cadmus cargo convoy, protecting what they thought was a weapons shipment, and when Supergirl intercepts the truck, she finds Jeremiah Danvers chained inside. So yeah, Jeremiah's there, and this felt so random. As we know, one of the big plot points of Season 1, and partially Season 2, but definitely more of Season 1 than Season 2, was tracking down Jeremiah and trying to figure out what happened to him, and briefly, they kind of did that, but they never actually found him, and now it seems that they've actually found him. So they bring him back to the DEO, where he receives a hug from Alex and a warm applause from the other staff, and it seems that everything is great, but as we can quickly tell, there's definitely more going on here. Especially right away when he tells him that Cadmus had kept him alive to turn Hank Henshaw into Cyborg Superman, and then kept him around to build other weapons. So Mon-El walks in, points out in his typical tactless fashion that Cadmus seemed very sloppy about transporting Jeremiah, but Jeremiah deflects by saying that Cadmus has a new nuclear weapon and that they plan on detonating and blaming on aliens. So the nuclear energy came courtesy of Kara's heat vision from when Cadmus took Supergirl prisoner, and Jeremiah suggests that Wynn tracked the bomb using Supergirl's energy signature and then reunites with Eliza, which that was actually a really nice moment. I love seeing these two reunite. You figure it's been a long time since Eliza has seen Jeremiah, and seeing these two reunite was very, very rewarding, even though you know that this probably isn't actually happening and that there definitely is probably more behind this. It was just really nice to see. I like seeing, Eliza finally get to reunite with Jeremiah after all this time. It was really satisfying overall. I like the way that was done. And Mon-El pulls Supergirl aside, says that everything just seems a bit too convenient. And yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And this is something I really did love in this episode, is that while the first few episodes of Mon-El, a lot of them have been very repetitive with Mon-El, having a lot of bad situations, getting Kara into these horrible situations and not really understanding the times. This is the first episode where Mon-El's kind of on top of things. I mean, he's the one that actually is the smart one here, because it didn't seem like Cadmus was collecting Supergirl's energy and Jeremiah was in the belly of the beast for years. So it just seems too good. Like, there's something else going on. So Mon-El reluctantly backs off after Kara invites him to a family dinner, basically tell him, look, I know you're worried, but everything's gonna be fine, come to the family dinner, and then you will see that he's completely fine. So that evening, he gets introduced to Maggie and tries to bond with his wife, Eliza. Since they can't make up for lost time, but they can build something new instead, and the extended Danvers family plus John toast to Jeremiah's return. Jeremiah asks John to return to the DO, which John accepts, and Mon-El gets suspicious how easily Jeremiah regained access to the DO, because, after a while, after everything he's been through, you feel like it would, have to go through a bunch of safety precautions and sign paperwork, but no, he's easily into the DO. So Kara quickly kicks him out of the apartment. Jeremiah leads Mon-El out, then says he knows who he really is, and that Kara probably wouldn't like it. So this is the first sign that definitely something's off with Jeremiah. I mean, the real Jeremiah probably wouldn't have said that. I don't think he really would have cared what Mon-El was. He would just care his daughter's happy, but you can definitely tell something's off with him. And again, I like that Mon-El, was the one that actually knew something was going on here. It really did change the focus of the episode. I like the way that was done, because a lot of people say that the show has had a very formulaic nature ever since Mon-El joined, and I would definitely agree with that, especially second half. It's been a lot of, Mon-El causing schemes, and I like that for once Mon-El was actually on top of things, and instead of him causing problems, he was trying to solve them. It was a really nice change of pace, and it's a really good way for the show to move past some of its abhorrent cliches that it seems to have. So, Mon-El meets with Winn at the permanently unnamed alien bar and tells him of his concern about Jeremiah, and Winn thinks Mon-El is paranoid, that he's simply just worried that this is too good to be true, and now he's with Kara, that's what he thinks going on. But Mon-El points out just how Jeremiah fell into the DO's lab. He agrees to help, and Winn just wants one thing in return, that Mon-El is to treat Kara right. This is obviously her father, she just got him back, and even though something weird might be going on, he needs to treat this as a completely normal situation. So the next morning, John gives Jeremiah the tour of the DO. He assigns Jeremiah to man the med bay, and when John leaves, Jeremiah quickly tries to access the DO's mainframe, but Winn sees him. Winn points out that out to Mon-El and Kara. When confronted, Jeremiah claims that he was just checking out old case files to see what his daughters were really doing. So again, seems very suspicious. Something else is definitely going on here, and Alex leads Jeremiah away, but not before yelling at Kara, and Kara tries to apologize to Alex, that she's just being cautious. She is starting to get a bit suspicious now. Mon-El warned her, and now she's starting to see it, but Alex isn't listening to her. She says that either Kara is a part of the family, or she isn't, and you can understand why Alex is angry here. She's wanted her father back for a while. This is the one thing that she's wanted back for a very long time. She now isn't back, and she doesn't know why Kara is acting so not like herself, and not like she wants him there. She doesn't really understand that. So I actually like the struggle that these two are going through, and I like that we definitely are focusing more on that relationship. Like I said, that's really the key relationship of the show, and I like that we got back to that here. So Mon-El goes back to Alien Bar, asks Winn for advice for how to be a better boyfriend. Winn tells him to stop trying so hard and stop trying to protect Kara, and afterward, Winn gets an alert saying that they found Cadmus's fusion bomb, and I did like seeing Winn essentially be a mentor to Mon-El. I definitely did like the way that was done, but the way Mon-El was talking to Winn is if Winn dated Kara, which we know he didn't, so it was kind of weird he went to him. I would have thought James would have been the one to go to, but James, again, nowhere to be found. Very strange. I don't know why James wasn't in this episode, but he, again, was nowhere to be found. So he gets an alert that they found Cadmus's fusion bomb, and Alex, Supergirl, Mon-El, and the DO strike team head in to intercept bomb, but they don't find anything there. John realizes something's wrong, especially after Jeremiah walks out of the DO control room. John discovers that he can't read Jeremiah's mind and that Jeremiah has a cyborg arm. Jeremiah quickly overpowers John, attacks Winn, downloads the DO mainframe onto a portable device, grabs a gun, flees the DO, and this is the first sign that, oh yeah, definitely something is off about Jeremiah. They know for a fact that he definitely is not the Jeremiah that they knew, and I like that Mon-El was in the right about this. Like, they knew that something was definitely going on here, and that they obviously could not trust him. I like that Mon-El actually knew what he was talking about, and I like that for once, he actually was on the right side of things, though it was definitely very well done. And from here on out, we get some incredible action scenes where Supergirl, Alex, and Mon-El return to the DO. They find out that he's turned, and Winn says he planned a tracker on Jeremiah to follow him because they obviously know they can't trust him. So they find Jeremiah meeting with Henshaw and Lillian Luthor's mother, not the right Henshaw. This is the cyborg Henshaw. And Henshaw blows up a nearby train bridge to draw Supergirl away. Again, some really good action here. I actually really like the way this action was constructed. Alex goes after Jeremiah and the others. Alex catches up to Jeremiah, pulls a gun on him, but she refuses to kill him, and I loved the way the scene was done, because Alex just can't fathom the idea of killing Jeremiah. I mean, she's wanted him there for so long, and everything that she's done for him, all the searching, all the devotion that he's given, she just can't bring herself to do it. And the actress who plays her, I can't think of her name right now, but she did an incredible job in this scene. I love what she did here. Jeremiah runs away, but not without at least a little regret. You can tell that obviously he is definitely regretting what he's doing. You know, this wasn't exactly his choice. He was kind of forced to do that, but I definitely really like the way it was done. It was quite heartbreaking to see Alex have to talk down to her father this way and actually have to, you know, realize that her father is turned and that she can't get him back to the way she wanted him to be. It was definitely sad to see that, but I really do like the way this episode ends, because when they return the DO, Alex explains to her mother what happened. Alex goes back to her apartment, drinks herself into a stupor. Maggie stops by. Alex immediately breaks down, and I like the way that Maggie comforted her. I thought that was really well done. Then we get kind of an identical scene where Mon-El checks up on Kara at her apartment. Instead of talking, Mon-El asks Kara what she needs. Just straight out, what do you need? But Kara just wants him to be there with her. She doesn't really have any words for it, because how do you go through such a situation? I mean, you spent almost an entire season trying to search for your father, and now you're realizing your father's actually the enemy, which, you know, again, isn't really that unpredictable. I kind of saw that coming, but I really like seeing the scene with Mon-El, where he's realizing that sometimes he just needs to be there for her and just hold her, and that's all he really needs to do. You know, it's not really nothing too overtly complicated. So Wyndham calls, says that Jeremiah stole the National Alien Registry, meaning the Cadmus now has info on every single alien. And then we get to the ending, we're back at Cadmus. Lillian says that she has a deal with Jeremiah. She shows him a giant spaceship. Who knows what's going to happen there, but that is the way this episode ends. Really great stuff overall. Let's just get into this episode and where we're going to go here. So overall, guys, while this episode was relatively just a setup episode, I still thought this was extremely well done, and especially, like I said, in the context of my main problem with this season, while I think the character stuff has been on a high, and I think they've done a great job with developing the characters and, you know, whatnot and everything, like the Mon-El and Kara relationship, it has not been especially strong with the villains, and that really did change in this episode, because going forward, it does seem like they actually do have a ground plan, which I was very happy about. I'm going to, you know, I will definitely, you know, correct myself in saying that I was wrong. They actually do seem to have a ground plan here, and I love where this is going, because essentially it seems that Lillian and Jeremiah essentially forced Jeremiah to do this. Like, Jeremiah doesn't want to do this, but the only way he's going to be released as prisoner if he essentially ends up betraying, you know, if he ends up betraying the DEO, which he doesn't obviously want to do, but he's kind of forced to do it. And I did like seeing that. I like seeing that Jeremiah, he's not completely terrible. Like, he's not an evil person. He's basically been forced to do this. Lillian is the real mastermind behind it all, and I love that. I love that Lillian is still the villain here. Brenda Strong is so great as a character. She's the right amount of over the top, but she's not too over the top. I feel like she's got a good blend of the two, and I really am liking what we're getting of this character, and I like that she is recruiting people that's not Lena, because after a while, she's going to have to realize that Lena's just not going to work. I mean, she's tried so many times to get Lena on her side. After a while, it's just not going to work anymore. I mean, to get her again would just be so redundant. So I completely understand why Lillian isn't trying to recruit Lena to this, because she knows it's not going to work. We know that Lena is, in fact, not on her side, and we know that Lena will probably try to betray her and give this information to Kara. So she knows, obviously, not to trust Lena and not to tell her about this, and I was happy she did that. I was happy that she actually tried to recruit someone that wasn't Lena, and I like where the storyline is going with them having all this information on the aliens. Now it makes sense why we've been seeing this stuff with Mon-El, because we know there's a lot of shady shit going on with that. They need Mon-El, and he needs to come back, and they need to recruit him, and I think that's definitely connected to what we've been seeing with that. Now, a lot of people have been speculating that Mon-El is a lot worse than we think, and I don't know if that's true. I feel like we've gone through so many great storylines with Mon-El that if they really took him in a villainous direction, it would really be a big betrayal to the character, and I really would not love to see that. Yes, I think the actor who plays him does an incredible job as Kai, but this is a different character. Let him be a good guy. Don't be, he can be a troubled character, but I don't need him to be a villain, and I don't want them to take him in that direction. I think it'd be really dumb if they decided to do that. So I hope that's not true, what I've been hearing. I've heard many theories about that, and I'm hoping that's not what they end up doing here. I think Lily and Jeremiah are viable threats. I think they can last the whole season, and I'm hoping that this doesn't just last like 2 episodes. I really do want to see this permeate throughout the rest of the season, because again, the problem with Supergirl is that they don't really know how to focus on villains, and this episode actually did it pretty well. I like the way they took their time with this episode. However, other than that, this was a fairly predictable episode. I knew exactly where it was going to go. The second that Jeremiah returned, I knew, just like Mon-El, something was up. There was no way that he was going to stay. There was no way that he was fully transformed, and that he was fully okay with what was going on. There was definitely more going on there. And I like that Mon-El, like I said, was the one suspicious of this. It wasn't that Mon-El, was dumbfounded at this point. He actually knew what was going on. He showed that he had a brain. He showed that he really did care about Kara, and I really did love seeing that. I like that he really was the one to make that discovery. My only thing with Kara and Mon-El is that right now, at least, they're acting like they've been dating for a lot longer than they have. They don't feel like a new couple to me. In the beginning, they did, but throughout the rest of the episode, they didn't feel like a new couple. They felt like a couple we've seen for quite a few episodes, and Mon-El trying to get relationship advice from Win just felt kind of awkward. Win's only really had one new relationship, which we didn't see anything of, and he didn't date Kara in the first place, so it felt kind of strange he was getting relationship advice about Kara from Win. The person to go to that for would have been James, and I think that would have been the perfect role for James to play in this episode. Now, I don't know where James is. They haven't shown him in 2 episodes. I don't know if it's just because they can't fit him in this episode, but again, it feels very bizarre that James is just not in this show. It seems like all season they've had stuff to do with him, and they haven't, and this is not at all what they need to be doing with this character. I feel like his storyline as the Guardian, I actually really do like this storyline. A lot of people don't. A lot of people absolutely hate it and say it's a terrible direction for them to go in, but I've actually really liked it. I like where they've taken it, and I want to see them do more with that. I want to see Kara more against, what James is doing. I want to see more of James pursuing being the Guardian. I want to see more protection of Kara. I want to see them at Mehcad. We're not seeing enough of this, and that's something that I am starting to notice, that I do think we're getting way too much of the DEO this season. They really need to find a counterbalance between the two. I get the CW spent a lot more money on this show than the DEO. You can clearly tell that. But Catco is where the show can, play around a little bit, have Snapper, have Kara being a reporter, have that aspect of the show in there, and Season 1 at least knew how to balance that tone. Season 2 doesn't really know how to do that so far, and that's the one thing that I am starting to notice, and I haven't been noticing it a lot, but they really have not been going to Catco a lot lately, and it's definitely starting to become a bit of a problem, because that is a big part of Kara's life, and I don't really know why we're not seeing that, and I feel like they definitely could have honestly benefited from that in this episode, but they really didn't, so I don't know really where that's going to go. I like seeing Eliza in this episode as well. I like seeing her, reunion with Jeremiah, even though it was short-lived. Even though Jeremiah is back, I liked seeing these two, trying to get back to the way things were, even though it's kind of hard to do that. I thought that was definitely very well done. Overall, guys, not at all a bad episode, just in my opinion, very predictable. I knew where the show was going to go. I knew that this episode was going to go, with Jeremiah ending up not being as good as we think, with it being too good to be true. I knew Mon-El was probably going to be right, and I was happy to see that. I like that the show finally is starting to concentrate on the villain. I like that we finally seem to have a threat that's actually going to last throughout the season. It's just like a one-episode thing. Don't get me wrong, I think I'm fine with that. Supergirl's never really done a great job with that, unless it's like Mixable or something, which I thought was fantastic last week. I love that character. But this episode, it definitely seems like the show is getting back into, it's getting down to the wire. We're getting down to, the actual villains of the show, and I'm very happy to see the show is going that direction. So overall, guys, I'm going to give Supergirl Season 2, Episode 14, Homecoming, a 4 out of 5 or a B+. So for guys, remember the Supergirl, let me know what you guys thought of this episode overall. Loved your thoughts on it. Do you like that we're focusing more on villains and where the show is hanging and everything? But that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for tonight's episode of Bates Motel, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.